How can we enforce a common law court verdict? At first, it seems we, the people, do not have the tools to enforce anything. After all, the government controls the police, the army, and the guns. This is especially an issue when the verdict is imposed against heads of church or state, or even entire institutions. But the moral weight of a verdict is by far the strongest weapon in the arsenal of the court. Under common law, any man or woman can assist in the arrest of someone convicted of a crime. Enforcement of the law by the people themselves is recognized by most countries as a right of citizens' arrest. In theory, then, the enforcement of common law court verdicts by any man or woman is not only legitimate and lawful, but is guaranteed even under the laws of countries dominated by civil, statute, or legislative law. But power, as we know, ultimately involves naked force. That is, the capacity of one group to impose its will upon another. In Australia, the Law Enforcement Powers and Responsibilities, Act 2002, Section 4, states that under common law the police have an obligation to act on a common law court indictment, unless this act otherwise provides expressly, or by implication. This act does not limit the functions, obligations, and liabilities that a police officer has as a constable at common law, or the functions that a police officer may lawfully exercise, whether under an act or any other law, as an individual other than a police officer, including, for example, powers for protecting property. As well as the police, anyone can make a citizen's arrest if they witness someone committing an indictable offense. An indictable offense is one that can be tried in a Crown Court in front of a jury. Types of indictable offenses include robbery, destroying or damaging property, and assault occasioning actual bodily harm. However, there must be a realistic basis for the arrest. For example, if you hear someone yelling at another person who is running away, and you see that the runner is clutching a handbag, then you may have a basis to believe that the runner has stolen the handbag. In most cases, these powers of citizen's arrest are used by security guards or other personnel performing their duties. The law also says you must only use force that is reasonably necessary when detaining the alleged offender. This means the force must be proportionate to the offense and not go beyond what is needed to prevent the person's escape. Use of force may be justified in cases of self-defense or to prevent the offender from escaping. Hugh Grotius, a 16th-century pioneer of international law, said that legal principles acquired power only when backed by cannon fire. So, besides its legal and moral weight, what cannons will back up and enforce the verdicts of our common law courts, especially when the firepower of those we are arresting and sentencing is apparently so much greater than ours? Another great pioneer, the Chinese general Sun Tzu, wrote millennia ago that in any conflict, power is not ultimately what you have materially, but rather psychologically, and the superior firepower of a much bigger enemy can always be negated with the right, unforeseen maneuvers. The fact that laws guard the rich and the powerful is not as important as the reality that any functional law rests upon its moral and political legitimacy. Once such legitimacy is weakened or gone, the laws and hard physical power of a state or church begin to crumble. Once confidence in a ruler wanes, internal divisions appear in the ruling hierarchy, and usually a palace coup occurs as the regime falls. We are witnessing precisely such developments and such a collapse of legitimacy within the Australian government today. And so, the short answer to the question, how do we enforce our verdicts in the face of the power of the enemy, is simple. We do as Sun Tzu teaches, and strike at the weakest, not the strongest, part of that enemy, the weak point of any institution, especially a government or church, is its public image and its source of money. Threaten either, and the entire institution must respond to the smallest of enemies. The very fact of our smallness gives us a freedom and flexibility to strike at such big targets when and how we like. So while it isn't normally possible to immediately detain heads of states or corporations after a sentence is passed against them, such an arrest does follow naturally. As their credibility and protection diminishes, their overt power tends to crumble. As the law and public condemnation works around their strong defenses and undermines them, like water flowing around a wall or a rock. Today, during the COVID pandemic, the politicians and police are actually helping to undermine their own powers by issuing unlawful edicts that are harming millions of people, and by the police using unwarranted force to intimidate people to wear masks in public or to obey unlawful COVID rules that are not even laws passed by federal parliament and enacted without the signature of a lawfully appointed Governor-General, authorized by H.M. Queen Elizabeth II. The point of any common law court verdict, after all, is not to target or imprison mere individuals, but to stop any threat to the helpless and to the community. Common law courts deter such threats so they do not reoccur, primarily by ending the institutional source of those threats. And our chief means to do so is the moral weight of our evidence and verdicts, combined with the capacity of many people to enforce those verdicts. Common law works because it is the will of the people. No government can survive if it does not act for the people.
Please donate to support your Common Law of England for Australia organisation. Running a common law system takes many man-hours and a lot of hard work by many people. We are all volunteers. So, your support is invaluable and needed. It will help pay for hosting the websites we provide to educate, facilitate, and activate, as well as domain names, add-on programs, organising events and assemblies, printing, and much more. Visit our website at commonlawcourtors.org and click on Donate on the main menu. Thank you.